Hey guys, what's up? Unrested here, and I recorded a JFAC today, as I usually do. Today's Thursday, and I usually put one out Tuesday and Thursday. I thank everyone for all your information and feedback on those. It's always super helpful. My views have been through the roof. My subscriptions have been through the roof. You guys have just blown me away with your appreciation, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. It means a lot to me. It means so much to me to watch my channel grow. It really keeps me inspired. I hope you don't mind today. I recorded a JFAC, and then my day went badly, and I just got in the mood for a rant. And you guys are my outlet, honestly. YouTube and you guys are my outlet. For the most part, everyone who listens, at least gives me constructive feedback. Even if it's criticism, it's constructive most times when I do these rants. And I feel like it's good to do a rant every once in a while to kind of give people a feel of maybe some of the hills and valleys they may go through when they live in Japan as well. Because a lot of the people who do watch my channel are interested in living in Japan. So that being said, let me just jump into it. I'm babbling on way too much to introduce this video, and I need to actually talk about the rant. So many of you know I work as an illustrator full-time. On the side, I've got a side job teaching English for little kids. And the only reason I mainly started with that was I had a friend who needed some help with a school, and I wanted to help. I mean, that's what friends do, right? You help. The school was doing badly. It started out with 8 kids only in the preschool level class. There was 8 kids. That's not good, because the thing is, your preschool class always needs to be your biggest class, because as it goes up through K1, K2, K3, more and more kids always drop off. And so if you start with a very small preschool class, then your K1, K2, and K3 classes are going to be even smaller, and your school in general is going to be smaller. So you usually want to start with your greatest amount of kids in preschool. That is my expertise. I am a good preschool teacher for ESL, English as a Second Language. Anyway, that's little background. And today, I have my Japanese equivalent teacher. She's the Japanese version of me. I'm the English teacher. She's the Japanese teacher. She's not my assistant. I'm not her assistant. She's not my boss. I'm not her boss. We are equals. And she's like, I need to talk to you today. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, what's up? She's like, today, one of our kids' moms said that you're scary. I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm scary to her? And she's like, no. Her kid said you're scary. And I was like, oh, so what happened? Like, did I do something to scare him? I mean, I don't recall an incident of something happening. Every day's been going the same for 3 years now that I've been working at this place. I've never gotten a report like this. But no, she's just like, well, she didn't say anything specific, but she just said you're scary, and I wanted you to know, because you need to be very careful. If that starts to get around that you're scary, it could be really bad for this school. And I was like, well, I mean, is it something I said, something I did? Did I act in a way that scared the kid that I can correct in the future to make myself a better person, a better teacher in general? She's like, no, the mom didn't actually point to anything. She just said that her kid said that you're scary. I'm just like, okay, so, see, if there's a problem, you have to define that problem in order to define an answer to that problem, a correction, a way to correct the problem. And if you don't know the definition of the problem, in sense that you're very vague, then there's no way you can go about fixing the problem. I can be fully in the wrong. I might totally be. I may have totally done something to scare this kid. For the most part, how I teach is I act like a big kid when I teach English. I'm pretty strict on discipline. I never raise my voice. It's one of my codes of honor. Never raise my voice. Of course, you're never going to yell at kids. You're never going to curse at kids. You're never going to hit kids. If you did something like that, you shouldn't be in preschool. But I'm really strict on my own kids at home. I'm probably half as strict on kids at school, because you can't treat them like your own kids. Obviously, the rules that you may apply to your own kids can't be applied at school. You can't be as strict. You wish you could, but you couldn't. Because of you constantly have different philosophies of different parents, which is understandable. But apparently I've done something that was scary to this kid. And, you know, I've had kids in the past who say scary, like they'll be like, quiet, quiet, quiet. And like, they like to do that while like we play chase or something, or like we play hide and seek, or I do some kind of Halloween or summer horror type thing, because summertime is the time for scary stories in Japan. And yes, you even do stuff to scare kids in Japan, like Setsubun, where you dress up as a demon and the kids get to throw beans at you. That's pretty darn scary for them. You hear a lot of kawaii then. You do scare kids in Japan. It's actually part of Japanese traditions. But outside of that, I don't go out of my way to scare kids. I don't try to find any ways to scare kids. For the most part, I'm pretty laid back. I would say I'm my most laid back at work. I try to be as vanilla as possible, quite honestly. Because even now, as how I'm talking to you on this rant, this would be too aggressive to act like at work. You could not have this kind of conversation. It would actually be constructive, I think, if I could sit down and be like, well, you need to really define what the definition, or I need to have a conversation with this parent and I need to ask her to please define the way in which I was scary to her kid so I can fix this problem. That would be too demanding, and that would be very scary to the parent. They would be like, oh, see, I told you he is scary. Ugh. He's too aggressive. Uh-oh, my kids are fighting right now. Do I need to be scary to them? So, this is kind of the things. This is kind of the problems you run into in Japan. You get told you've done something wrong. It's very vague in the way in which you've done it. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. Give me a hug. Come give me a hug. What's wrong, buddy? What happened? Oh, I know. I know. Oh. Okay, ready? You ready? Itai no, tondake, Kenny. Okay, we got him back. So this is some of the things that drive me crazy in Japan. You get told you've done something wrong, right? You get told you've done something wrong. And then when you ask for a very direct definition of what you've done, because what you've been told is very vague, then you've become too aggressive in the conversation. You've become too demanding in the conversation. You're intimidating your fellow employees. You're intimidating the parent. And I didn't even take it any further after that. I was just like, so what did I do? What was scary? And the teacher was just like, oh, well, she just said you were scared. She didn't really define anything. And I had to just drop it. I couldn't go any further. I knew if I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what did I do? Like, if I started to get like that already, I would be pushing the line in Japan. Like, that's already too much. That's already going too far. You're looking crazy already. Okay, for you and me, we'd be like, well, that's constructive, Scott. You're trying to find out how to correct the problem that you supposedly made. And this kind of shit just drives me fucking insane. It makes me want to fucking quit the same goddamn day. Please, I don't use this kind of language unless I'm in this kind of rant stage. I'm my kids are in the other room. I even made sure I took them in there to watch an iPod so that they wouldn't hear this type of stuff. And I even waited till my little guy now ran back. And it drives me insane. It drives me totally nuts, because there's so much more efficiency that could happen in the workplace. There's so many problems that could be corrected if we could just define what those problems were. If we could just say, this is what you did wrong. This is exactly how you did it wrong. This is exactly how you can fix it. Not just be vague. Hope they get the idea. Hope they get the vapors of the trail of ideas that you've kind of sprinkled upon them, and they can get the little parts and maybe make up a solution. They can guess at it. And fuck this shit. Fuck this inefficient bullshit. It honestly, stuff like this, even though it's my friend's place, like I want to fucking quit today. I wanted to fucking walk out of there and just say, fuck everyone, fuck this place, fuck these parents, fuck, I'm scary. And like, the funny thing is I've always had great conversations with this parent. She's one of the few that can speak English. I speak really nice English to her. I'm very pleasant. I smile as much as possible. That's one thing you've got to do in a Japanese job. You've got to smile as much as possible. And at the same time, like I said, I stay vanilla, level-headed. I don't explode like I am right here on camera. This is why I love YouTube as an outlet. It can let me get this kind of steam blown off. And this shit just drives me nuts. I had been talking to Victor. Give me a flake, give me a break, man. He has his own school. I've been talking to him about trying to start my own on the side. I've been really, really considering it. There's a couple of reasons why. Um, One, it's a great extra source of income, and no matter how much I want to say I love illustration, I can't deny I do, and this is not me just tooting my own horn. I have a little bit of talent with teaching little kids, and there's a big market for teaching little kids because not a lot of people want to do it. They can't deal with little kids, and I guess you can sometimes see why when you have these monster parents who just make up bullshit excuses as to why they're upset with problems that don't exist or they don't want to define. Um, of course, if I run the school, the great thing is if I have a parent like that, I can just say, yes, please tell me what's wrong. Oh, you can't tell me? Well, I mean, if you have a problem, you're welcome to leave the school at any time, ma'am. Done. Okay? You either say, oh, well, I guess it wasn't a problem, so I'll stay at your school. Or it was a problem, so bye. Fuck off. The other reason I would like to start my own school is honestly for a lot of friends. I've got some great friends in the Unrest team, people who I don't give a shout out enough, who help me. Anytime I need it, I just jump into their chat room, the Unrest team chat room, and I ask for help, and they deliver it without ever yelling at me for how negligent I am of the Unrest team. Please forgive me. I'm forever in your debt. There's wonderful guys there who have a lot of talent and a lot of education, life education, who I would trust 100% to teach amazing classes, and I know they could. There's people who I talk to, you guys, on the internet here, YouTube, who tell me about your struggles to try and find a job in Japan, how you only have the time to quick search while you're here on a very short tourist visa, and you didn't have a chance to nail down a job. Because it's hard. I mean, you want to enjoy your tourist visa, right? But you also want to look for a job, but you also need to be professional. You also have to try and line up a bunch of interviews. It's not easy. People are like, you can't do that in 3 months? It's like, yeah, man, like that's a lot to line up. I had one great friend who came out here, Johnny Nicely, super professional guy, great work ethic. His work ethic was awesome. He had a ton of tattoos that he would have happily covered up to work any kind of English teaching job. And he just, he didn't get enough time, enough chance. People didn't give him enough chance because, they judge a book by its cover. And I can tell you, especially when it comes to teaching kids classes, you can be pretty pierced up, and I've even seen guys with like piercings in their nose and tattoos on their necks teach kids in Japan and do fine, and the parents love them. I've had no parent ever complain about any way in which I look. I've never shown my tattoos when I teach. My ears have been gauged, but I've never even had a parent ever say anything about my gauged ears. One last thing. This is already 13 minutes. I'm sorry. This is a long rant. Forgive me if I'm ruining your day with this. I apologize. I'll still put up a JFAQ later in this week. I gotta get this. I gotta get this off my chest. You guys are the only guys I can talk to in English this clearly here in Japan. You gotta understand. I don't have a English outlet. I could tell my wife some of this stuff, but even her, she can only understand so much English. She's even limited. And I could tell my kids too, but my 4-year-old's gonna be like, "Great, Dad. So what?" The other thing, I'm finishing up my day. I pick up my kid, and we have what's called a mamachari. It's a bicycle that is a very large bicycle that carries 1 to 2 kids. Mine carries 2 kids. It's got 2 little bike seats for them. Yes, they wear helmets. Yes, they're totally safe. I've never had an accident on it. Yes, so I obey the speed limits. Blah 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 blah. I've had people write me before and be like, "That's so unsafe." Well, in Osaka, you drive on the sidewalk. You don't even drive on the street when you have a bike. So, fuck off. And I pick up my first kid today, and when you're getting your bike out of bike parking, it's pretty hard sometimes, because what you have is you have this on-ramp that you slide the bike onto, kind of like you would for parking a car that have ramps that lock it into place. What you have to do is you unlock your bike. You actually have to scoot it backwards off that ramp a little bit, then push it forward so that the kickstand pops out, because it's actually like a double kickstand, so that when you're putting your kid in the bike, it can't tip either way. Just a little technical description there so you can understand how this works. Once you've got your kids in there, that bike is crazy heavy until you get on it and turn on the engine. Okay, those bikes are insanely heavy then, so you have to be very, very careful with how you wheel it out, unless you want to drop your kids. I mean, they're only going to fall as tall as the bike is, but still, you don't want to drop your kids, right? So that's what I'm doing. I got my first kid in there. I put my second kid in. And while I'm doing it, these two ladies pull up really quick on their bikes. And it's very easy to dismount your bike when you don't have kids and just get off and park it and go run to get your kids. And the first lady does that. She parks her bike perfectly. And how it is it's slots that go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And then on the other side, the slots go diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the reason they do that is because the other bikes on the other side have to be diagonal so that the bikes pulling out on this side have the room to scoot out, because parking is very close in Japan. So if you park your bike in the diagonal parking lot and then turn the rest of the bike, because obviously, you know, you can move the front of the bike back and forth to be poking out straight to match up with the straight ends of the bikes on the other side, you have now created a bike fence. And that's what this lady does. The first lady parks her bike. She parks it fine. She's not making a mistake. She's totally okay. She's parking it in the right. She's parking it the same way I parked my bike. I've been pulling mine out the whole time. The second lady pulls up while I'm still pulling my bike out. And I'm getting it turned around. Like I said, you got to do this very slowly, like even slower than I'm doing it now. I'm getting it forward. She parks hers, then turns it straight in the diagonal parking. Well, great. Now she's just created the bike gate, okay? Because she decided to rush parking her bike and not straighten it out into the diagonal point that she should be lined up into. So I'm about to get out, and now after all this time of pulling my bike out, she's blocked me in. And she gets off her bike, walks off, she's like, "Sumimasen, bye," you know, and so she's saying, "Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, I gotta go." And like, I'm like, "What? No." I'm like, "Excuse me," you know, like, what? And like, she knows what she does. She's totally like got this guilty look on her face, like, "Oh, did I do that?" And it's like, yeah, like, you know, I don't even have to say. I literally don't have to say anything. And like the other lady who's standing right there is giving her a look too, like, yeah, seriously, what the fuck? Obviously, you're blocking this guy in. Like, what's he supposed to do? Fucking launch his bike ET style with the two kids on it, you dumbass? And so finally, she realizes she has no choice, or she's going to leave me blocked in there until she gets back fucking downstairs from picking up her own kid. You know, we've all got places to be. If my kid goes past 30 minutes at the next place, then I have to pay an extra 500 yen. So we've all got places to be. I understand that. But if you've got a place to be, guess what? So do I. Same thing goes for me. If I leave my kid there another 30 minutes, he's got to pay 500 yen too. Or, I mean, I do, not him. I'm not going to make my kid pay for his own school. So I'm just like, come on, man, fucking move your bike. Like, all I have to do is, I have to do this. You know, I don't say anything. I need to get irrational. I just give her this look. Like, I put my hand out like, really? This is what you're going to do. You're going to leave me blocked in here until you get back down fucking stairs. And I'm talking, this is a 5-story building. I know the kids go to school up on the 5th floor. So I'm going to have to wait for her elevator to go all the fucking way up, her to pack the bag with her kid, come all the way back downstairs, and then fucking finally let me out of the bike with my two kids waiting on the bike. Well, I'm holding it up, mind you. I'm not having it in kickstand position anymore with no kids on it. It's super fucking heavy. Well, what the fuck, lady? Fix your fucking bike. So, yeah, she moves it and gives me this look like, "Oh, oopsie daisy, oh, silly me." Come on, man. Use some common fucking sense. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I just wanted to get these two things off my chest, guys. I'm sorry. If you didn't want to listen to this, I will put rant at the beginning of the title of this, and hopefully that steers you clear of having to listen to me rant and rave and go crazy and cuss and curse and be angry. I apologize if any of that ruins your own day. I hope you found it comical. That's what I'm looking for you to just laugh at my pain. I'm not asking you to say, "Oh, poor Scott, here's a tissue for you. Wipe those big, big baby tears, you sensitive snowflake." You know, and maybe I am getting too worked up over this stuff. I'm sure I'll have a better judgment on it later, but for now, it's cathartic. It's cathartic. That's why I do this. This is why I rant and rave. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all your views, your subscriptions. If you like this video, please slam a big like on it. I would love to have a good bunch of hundreds and hundreds of likes so my videos actually get seen on, you know, some of these like recommended pages and stuff like that. That'd be cool. I'd love my channel to blow up. Can you help me blow up? Anyway, I'm unrested. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.